infinite co-host, Ethan. Momo! Oh my god. Oh no.
You know that girl has gone back to journeying like the seventh plane of existence. Like, she is gone.
Right?
We had our window. She is like, she only exists like 3 out of the 7 days of the week. Like, we missed our window here.
That is so funny. We're about to start soon. Are you available? Got caught up in some other nonsense. Have you been to the server yet, Ethan?
The Discord?
Yeah.
Oh, I've been hanging out, but it's very, like, what I can see, I don't know if you deleted a bunch of stuff.
No, I actually added a bunch of stuff, but it might be...
So I can only see a couple things.
Okay, so I think you have to introduce yourself, and then it will assign you a role, and you have no idea how long that took me.
You have scripted the crap out of this.
JavaScript is a hot mess, and bots are the devil, but I love them.
They were, like, you did a really, really great job. I had no idea that you could do stuff like that.
It was crazy. But yeah, so I have Coach yell at you when you join the server, and then when you get done, he boots you, and he's like, yeah, get out of here. Oh, it's good times.
Mm-hmm.
I'm waiting to see if she's going to respond real quick. But yeah, so what I was thinking was we watch for about 10 minutes, and then we basically talk about what we watched and create those kind of endpoints. We can kind of talk like during it.
Wow.
But because it's easier, oddly enough, to cut together that way. But, you know, if people are going to be kind of re-watching along, I want them, you know, to still be able to watch it.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Even after it gets messy. Well, Momo. She was
oh my goodness.
Is she? Because she said, can we push it back? Rob has a game he wanted to watch. I don't know, yeah, Rob. I don't care about your Rob.
Also, my gosh, you added so many places, and this place is poppin'.
Right? And this is just the Patreon group. This isn't even open to, like, the page yet. Yeah. This is just the Patreon people. Like, I could do it with just this number of people. And I'm just like, holy crap. So I'm really excited.
Yeah. Wow, all the fan art ones.
I know. And the little Omega chat, which cracks.
Ooh, do I dare go in here?
Oh, it's not too salty yet. But I think, especially in the NSFW one, the first thing Milky said was titty milk. I was like, perf. Excellent inaugural post is excellent.
Did you open that Derek NSFW link that I sent you at work?
Yes, I did. I looked around. I was like, and that was definitely NSFW. But I was like, woo. All right.
Oh, sticky.
All right. Momo's not responding. So, sorry, Momo. You kind of had your chance. So, yeah. How long is this episode? Oh, 40 minutes. So we stopped 4 times, basically. Every 10 minutes. Mm-hmm. Which, well. Yeah, your pilot episode is 40 minutes. I should have told us so much.
Well, no, they have an extended pilot.
Do they?
It's like an hour. Yeah.
Well, their episodes are an hour.
It's probably not on here. It's probably not on here, but on the DVD, which is not here. it's at my parents' house. But
is it an hour on Amazon?
I don't know.
I don't think they do, but that's okay. All right, I'll just go welcome. Welcome, everybody, to Beacon Hills After Dark. I, of course, am Sticky Keys. To my right tonight. Well, first of all, welcome to our Teen Wolf Rewatch. We'll go through the theme song later, but I'm so excited to be here. We are finally doing it. We are completing the catalog. We literally had to do a rewatch just a watch for 3A because we started the podcast in 3B. So now we are adding seasons 1 and 2. And we are going to start with season 1, episode 1. I almost clicked the not safe for work, which I'll probably just do anyway. Which is entitled Wolf Moon. Woo! Directed by Russell McKay. Story by Jeff Davis, Jeff Loeb, and Matthew Weissman. Teleplay by Jeff Loeb and Matthew Weissman. Are they the writers of the original Teen Wolf? Is that why their names are there?
So Jeff, I think, talked about this in like a very, very obscure interview. And maybe it was in the commentary.
He had a partner for a while.
He had these two. And he wrote the pilot with 2 other people, and then they never wrote anything for the show ever again, I don't think. But he did have help writing this pilot.
Interesting. And then after that, he wrote one more episode of the first season.
Oh, did he?
This explains.
Who was it? Wait, which one?
So much. The next one.
Or Jeff or the other
Jeff?
Jeff. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Huh. Interesting.
And around the time that it started going downhill was the end of season 2, and all of those were written by Jeff Davis.
No.
Here we go.
No, here's... Yeah, oh yeah, we can probably start it.
Oh no, you're fine, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, like, they've sort of said in the past that, everybody has like a piece of the pie that we just like sort of just put someone's name on it for. That was like the one that
they're glorified
on.
Editors, basically.
Right, they're glorified editors, exactly. The one that stayed up the most hours, 3 days before they were filming the episode.
Exactly.
His crack fantasy.
Such a mess. All right.
Such a mess.
So to my right, talking just then, back by, because he is our involuntary permanent co-host, and we love him so much. Ethan, say hi, Ethan.
I thought I was done with this show.
I know. We just keep pulling
Here we go. Let's do it. When Teen Wolf was actually good. I don't mind watching when Teen Wolf was actually okay.
It was actually good. And to his right, of course, coming over from our other podcast, he's our future permanent involuntary engineer. Engineer Philip doing the goddamn thing. Say hi, Philip.
Hey guys!
Yay! Fandom / follow him on Tumblr. He's amazing. He's amazing everywhere, but especially just everywhere. Is it fandom with an S, fandoms / or is it fandom /?
Oh, it's just fandom /
Okay.
1S.
Cool. All right, so we are about to start Teen Wolf Moon. We're going to do a 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 play. So I'm going to go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, play. And the way that we're going to do this is we are going to play it for 10 minutes. We might make some quippy remarks, and then at the 10-minute mark, we're going to stop. We're going to talk about stuff, and then we're going to start it again. So for those following along, feel free to play this along with your viewing. And we are going to start in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, play. It's happening. God, we're doing this again. I don't remember any of this.
You don't remember this?
No, not at all.
Wow.
Oh, this is when they find Laura, right? Okay, look at this house.
So huge. Would you just remember that for later seasons?
So huge. Aww. Remember
Oh my
when
God, Scott.
Posey was a cutie?
Posey was so cute.
Why are those shorts so long?
They're so long! That was the
Because
style.
that's the basketball. Yeah, I was gonna say that's the basketball short style. Have you seen Hecklin's?
Yeah. Oh.
I know, but just without the lifts.
Look
you
at
really
baby
tell.
Posey.
Yeah, definitely without the lifts.
So he got fully dressed.
Stars, what the hell are you doing? You weren't answering your phone. Why are you a bat?
Look at how fuzzy his
I thought
head
you were a
is.
predator. Look, I know it's late, but you gotta hear this. I saw my dad leave 20 minutes ago. Dispatch called. They're bringing in every officer from the Beacon Department and even state police. For what? 2 joggers found a body in the woods.
Dylan's timing is already perfect
A dead
here.
body?
Perfect.
No, a body of water. Yes, dumbass, a dead You like murdered? Nobody knows yet. Just that it was a girl, probably in her 20s. Oh, hold on. If they found the body, then what are they looking
He's so
for?
Trevor from Sweetie
That's the
High.
best part. They only found half.
He's so giddy.
He. Oh, God, this is what I loved about Teen Wolf.
Seriously doing this?
Instantaneously styles.
Just 100%.
I was trying to get a good night's sleep before practice tomorrow. Right, because sitting on the bench is such a grueling effort. No, because I'm playing this year. In fact, I'm making first line. Hey, that's the spirit. Everyone should have a dream, even a pathetically unrealistic one.
Rude.
Curiosity, which half of the body are we looking for? Huh. I didn't even think about that. And, what if whoever killed the body is still out here? Also something I didn't think about. It's comforting to know you planned this out with your usual attention to detail. I know.
There's so many words.
Maybe the severe asthmatic should be the one holding the flashlight, huh?
Even in this moonlight, his eyes are shining.
Wait up!
Yeah, because nobody's going to hear them yelling.
Hang on. This little delinquent belongs to me.
Dad, how you doing?
So, do you, listen to all my phone calls?
No. I'm not the boring ones.
Now, where's your usual partner in crime?
Who's Scott? Scott's home. He said he wanted to get a good night's sleep for first day back at school tomorrow. It's just me in the woods, alone.
Scott, you out there?
See, this would be a good time that he could have come out.
Scott?
Personal choices, Scott. Personal choices.
Well, young man, I'm gonna walk you back to your car, and you and I are gonna have a conversation about something called invasion of privacy.
You better act, Tyler Posey.
He's nothing in comparison to Dylan, though. Like,
Oh, God, I know.
bad.
But he is
Just that
Pure
scene.
talent.
What were you saying, Philip?
Oh, I get it. Just that scene at the house shows you everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really does.
Oh, Atlanta.
Atlanta.
Show. He would have been so dead. But God bless the special effects.
God bless.
They tried it. Hashtag tried it. That's not how flashlights work.
Before phones had like the flashlight.
Exactly. Ew.
Ugh.
Oh. I just noticed how they edited that, and that was hilarious. So low budget. Do we find out later that's Allison? Oh, snap.
And Victoria.
Okay.
They showed that in a flashback later, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they didn't even stop.
Didn't she say, like, oh, it was a deer?
Yeah.
Victoria's shady. Teen Wolf! No theme song.
Class of 19.
I'll give them 2002. Jackson.
Oh, here we go.
Jackson 37.
Dude,
I'm gay.
watch the paint job.
Oh my god, look at my little gay boy.
I know.
He was so pretty.
He is so pretty.
I loved me some Jackson.
No, was this before or after the thing?
It was too dark to see much, but I'm pretty sure it was a wolf.
A wolf bit you.
It didn't look like a wolf.
I heard a wolf howling. No, you didn't. What do you mean, no, I didn't? How do you know what I heard? Because California doesn't have wolves, okay? It's been like 60 years.
Really?
Yes, really. There are no wolves in California. Well, if you don't believe me about the wolf, then you're definitely not going to believe me about when I tell you I found the body.
Are you kidding me?
No, I wish. I'm going to have nightmares for a month. Oh, God. That is freaking awesome. I mean, this is seriously going to be the best thing that's happened to this town since the birth of Lydia Martin. Hey, Lydia. You look like you're going to ignore me. You're the cause of this, you know? Dragging me down to your nerd depths. I'm a nerd by association. And Scarlet nerded by you.
He's wearing a hoodie and a blazer.
There indeed was a body found in the woods last night. And I am sure your eager little minds are coming up with various macabre scenarios as to what happened. But I am here to tell you that the police have a suspect in custody, which means you can give your undivided attention to the syllabus, which is on your desk outline this semester.
Three calls on my first day is a little overdoing it.
See, what hers?
Except a pen. Oh my god, I didn't actually forget a pen. Okay, I gotta go. Love ya.
Sorry to keep you waiting. So, you were saying San Francisco isn't where you grew up?
No, but we lived there for more than a year, which is unusual with my family.
Well, hopefully Beacon Hills will be your last stop for a while.
We're at 10.
Yeah, I'm gonna get to the end of this scene.
Class, this is our new student, Allison Argent.
Please do your best to make her feel welcome.
Allison.
Thanks.
We'll begin with Kafka's Metamorphosis on page 133.
All right. That should have been her first indication that something was wrong. That this was just not going to go well. Oh, man. So, oh, God. Styles from the very beginning. Perfection.
He was the one. He was it. He was the show.
That scene at the house, the delivery, the comedic timing that he had, it was just smooth all around. And then you compare it to Scott's, Tyler Posey's, like, just whining voice from the get-go. This is pretty much where I stopped, a little bit later is where I stopped watching.
Sorry. Okay, go ahead.
Pretty much later is where I stopped watching it when it first aired. And I didn't come back until... like mid-season 2, like right before I hit season 2 on Netflix.
I feel like, again, they just didn't know what they had. And Dylan even said that he had to, like, go in and they were like, bring it down 10%. And then he, auditioned again. They're like, take it up 10%, and because they understood that they had a star in the making right there who just understands the nuances. He kind of goes a little overboard, but that's the whole point of showmanship, that we accept that those kind of things happen. Whereas you have Posey playing the all-American kind of everyday boy. There's nothing to distinguish that.
Do you think at this point they were already deciding whether it was worth having someone upstage Posey or not?
I think
from the audition process?
I think at that point, because Tyler himself, this is one thing that I will give Tyler credit for, is he knows how to act Scott, or at least he did in these first few seasons. Because Scott McCall is a very different thing from Tyler Posey. And so I think that Tyler, what he won them in the room was the juxtaposition of his actual kind of, his character, which is a little bit closer to Dylan's in real life, this kind of stoner skater kid, versus, Scott, this goody two-shoes. I think, though, they were trying to make him a little bit more Zach Morris. They thought he was going to be the Zag, and Styles was going to be the Screech. But they tried to make him cool but also nerdy, and it just doesn't work. Like, it's one of those things where the asthma kind of did mess with him. It set that expectation. Even though he's not nerdy at all, so I don't know.
I don't understand.
I think it was just badly executed.
Yeah.
Like, I'm wondering what this was going to look like before the coaching he got.
Yeah. Ooh, that might be scary to think about. Another thing I wrote down was the high school students. I love how they are played by older actors, but they're dressed down to be kids. And then as the seasons went on, the students started getting more and more dressed up, like more and more makeup and more like really designer kind of tight-fitting clothes and that kind of thing. And then they got younger. They became younger kids. And it was just so funny, like, watching this class of clearly 30-year-olds. And then you have Scott and Styles.
So every year I get the urge usually around November, because that's when I originally watched it. But I get the urge to watch The Vampire Diaries over again.
Resist.
And they are the worst about this. My goodness.
Yes.
No, I fell into it again. I had to watch it again, because it's just, the first season and I'd say the first 2 seasons were, again, really, really good. Mm-hmm. And then the 3rd season, it just tanked. So, but yeah, no, it was, they are the worst offenders at this. Everybody looks like they're 29.
Right.
Essentially, which is like, by season 3, I'm pretty sure everybody was. I mean, Paul Wesley's like 36 now.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and they just ended not too many years ago. I mean, like, what, 2-3 years ago, maybe?
Year? For Vampire Diaries?
Nah, it was last year.
Mm-hmm. That's why they're having this goodbye con. Because it's Teen Wolf, Pretty Little Liars, and Vampire Diaries.
Oh, see, I didn't even know about that. Interesting.
Well, Hecklin's going.
Wow. Well, of course, Hecklin wouldn't miss a con if,
And it's going to be in Rome. It's going to be a mess. In May, I think? Oh, yeah.
Oh, really?
He said, make that money, is what he said.
Exactly. And I'm sure he probably loves Rome, too. I mean...
Who doesn't?
Who doesn't love being in Rome?
Rome in the spring. And then I said, I have never joined a new school and had to wait outside for the principal. And I just like that little plot contrivance that she would be sitting outside. That her mom would have dropped her off, first of all. And then the principal came out to meet her. I'm like, what? Go to the office. What are you doing? I also would have found
worked if she had been seated outside the office and he had heard it through the hallway because his classroom was down the hall.
Exactly. Oh my God. But then we wouldn't have a visual on her and love at first sight, which I'm all about, Scallison. So I'm just like, oh, they're so cute. But we know where it's going to go.
So do you remember what your initial thoughts were when you first watched this?
Yes. I was on board. I was on board to the max. I was like, oh my God, he likes her. And he gave her a pen. It's so sweet. Oh. And it was just like, yep, I was on board. But you notice how I said, I remember none of this. And so... So I was very casual viewer. Oh, and I was all about Jackson. So I was like, where is Jackson? I went there very quickly.
Nice.
All right. So we are going to be starting at 10:32, people. Queue up. And
Oh, wait, hold on.
Oh, uh-huh.
Okay, first of all, they wasted so much money on those deer when they should have wasted it on making the werewolf look more believable.
That werewolf looked like a fuzzy teddy bear with some red eyes. It looked like Labette, kind of. So I'm like, if you're going to use the same thing for the beast, but it's not the beast. But another werewolf has never looked like that necessarily in the show, just Peter. And they've never fully explained why Peter looks like that. That kind of...
Then we move on to... Did you notice that Styles leaves the preserve without Scott? That just doesn't sound believable to me. Like, I can see Styles driving off and then, like, while his dad watches him and then kind of, like, pulling up into the other side of the preserve or something and picking Scott up and taking him home.
Well, they seem to be like, yeah, you're kind of on your own because his dad did escort him to the car, and I imagine that, yeah, he just kind of pushed him off.
The way home.
It's definitely possible that, but I also don't see it being like, as soon as you get home, give me a call. There's no... Because they had cell phones, so just call me when you get home.
Maybe that was just me with my friends or something like that, but I can't imagine something like that happening and then not being like, okay, I made it back.
Well, exactly. Like, I'm not going to find out the next day as we walk into school.
Hey, I got bit by a freaking wolf. I just don't
like,
waiting until the morning to tell someone that.
There are no wolves in Northern California. Lord.
And then when we get to this classroom, and I only point it out because it's a trend in this damn series, Kafka's Metamorphosis. I'm sorry, but what high school goes over Kafka's Metamorphosis?
They don't. Not in friggin' sophomores.
That was a sophomore.
Jeff Davis's bougie ass. Oh, please.
Yeah.
I know, right? Yeah, exactly. Page 133. Okay, summer reading, you should be done it by then.
Right.
Or, why are you starting there on the first day? what?
This teacher is out of pocket, too. You never really see teachers like that. Or if they do, you're like, okay, dangerous minds. Like, we don't need all this drama.
And we're gonna see this later with Schrodinger's cat and all that other crap.
Oh, God, that's right. Oh, my jeez. Can't wait. Okay. So, 3, 2, 1, and play. He's a stalker.
Holy killer. Where'd you get it? My mom was a buyer for a boutique back in San Francisco. And you are my new best friend. Hey, Jackson. Can someone tell me how...
Oh my God, Harley!
5 minutes and she's already hanging out with Lydia's clique.
Hi, Harley.
Bye,
Harley.
This weekend? There's a party. A party?
Yeah, Friday night. You should come.
I can't. It's family night this Friday. Thanks for asking.
Oh, Styles.
Everyone's going after this revolution.
Starly, you have no idea how excited I was for that scene.
The sport is lacrosse. We've won the state championship for the past 3 years.
Because of a certain team captain.
Well, we practiced in a few minutes. That is, you don't have anyone else.
Well, I was going to... Perfect.
Who goes to practices?
Midday.
Right.
You're really gonna do that to your best friend? I can't sit out again. My whole life is sitting on the sidelines. This season I make first line. Call! Yeah, you're in goal.
He's just too scary.
I've never played.
I know. Scoring some shots will give the boys a confidence boost. It's first day back thing. Get them energized. Fired up.
What about me?
Try not to take any in the face.
Oh. They just had a great cast for this.
They really do.
Messed up. My God.
I'm not sure how he is.
Love you, Lydia.
Why? He's in my English class.
So at this point, Crystal's like 26?
Yeah, 26, 27. And Lydia's like 23, 24?
Yeah.
I love this song for this scene.
It's very good. They did a great job with the soundtrack in the first two seasons. It was great.
Yeah. Black girl in the bleachers.
He seems like he's pretty good. Very
They're doing the... Look at Jackson's face! That smirk.
Oh, the dick shot.
I was like, the dick shot! Oh. Look at Lydia! Work! Work, mama.
I don't know what it was. It was like...
Who does that?
Catch the ball.
Oh my God, it's almost here.
Here's stuff I shouldn't be...
Oh my God.
First contact.
Smell things. Like what? Like the mint mojito gum in your pocket. I don't even have any mint mojito. So all this started with a bite. What if it's like an infection? Like my body's flooding with adrenaline before I go into shock or something. You know what? I actually think I've heard of this. It's a specific kind of infection. You you serious? Yeah. Yeah, I think it's called lycanthropy. What's that? Is that bad? Oh, yeah, it's the worst. But only once a month. Once a month? Mm-hmm. On the night of the full moon. You're the one who heard a wolf howling. There could be something seriously wrong with me.
I know, you're a werewolf. Okay, obviously I'm
So
kidding.
Derek heard him say that.
I know. I was just thinking about that.
Silver I could find it because Friday's a full moon. I could have sworn this was it. I saw the body, the deer came running. I dropped my inhaler. Maybe the killer moved the body. If he did, I hope he left my inhaler. Those things are like $80.
Oh, he's such a creeper.
That's so pale.
So pale. They tried to do the Twilight thing.
Huh?
Why?
This is private property. Sorry, man. We didn't know. Yeah, we were just
Look at him.
looking for something, but forget it.
Look at Styles!
Dude, that was Derek Hale. You remember, right? He's only like a few years older than us. Remember what? His family, they all burned to death in a fire like 10 years ago.
He's hearing this too.
I wonder what he's doing back.
Wait a minute. Okay, we'll talk about that.
Oh, I love this part. And how it never comes up ever again.
Why wouldn't cats like... Because wolves are dogs?
I think it's just, like, you know, pets are screwed, are scared of supernatural stuff.
I didn't see it. I took my eyes off the road for like 2 seconds to change the song of my eye, put it in this dog. It just came out of nowhere.
It's alright. Do you remember where it happened so I can send animal control to find it?
No. I mean, yes, I know where I hit it, but the dog is...
Where is it?
It's in my car.
You okay? She's just frightened.
It makes 2 of us.
You see if I have any better luck.
We're gonna go back to that frightened word.
What?
I think her leg is broken.
Like, did he know that
Do plenty of splints.
he was doing
Do it
that?
myself and then give her a painkiller for now. Yeah, I have a shirt in my bag.
Oh, I don't want to trouble you.
Okay.
Wants to put on your musty shirt.
Perv.
She's just wearing no bra. Like,
Yeah, she's just wearing no
like, dang, mama.
What?
bra.
I didn't see anything.
Not the point, Scott.
How do you know it's a girl dog?
Thanks for doing this.
Look where he is, Sticky.
Well, now, but in the back of the car.
I don't know, because I freaked out like a total girl.
You are a girl.
I freaked out like a girly girl, and I'm not a girly girl.
I'm not like those other girls.
Except for that. At least I thought I was.
Hey, I'd be freaked out too. In fact, yeah, I'd probably cry. And not like a man either, like the biggest girly girl ever.
Thanks.
Pathetic.
Yeah, right.
So, looks like she's gonna live. And I'm pretty sure she'll even let you pet her now if you want.
I don't think so.
Oh, come on. And you don't want her to sue. I hear this breed is very litigious.
He doesn't even know the name, like, meaning of that word.
A. And B, why hasn't he called the doctor? This is what people have a problem with.
She likes you.
What?
is it really family night on Friday? Or do you think maybe you'd like to go to a party with me?
How did you hear that?
Family night was a total lie.
So is that a yes, you'll go?
Definitely yes.
Gratuitous shirtless scene.
Looks like he's baby powdered his chest. It just looks like weird. Oh, this is the part I didn't understand. And pause. 2138. I don't remember any of this or the whys of it, so I want to pause before we go too deep into it. So, lacrosse practice in the middle of the day where everybody goes and hangs out cracks me up. But specifically because Lydia was queen for me for the beginning, and she still reigns. I love that she was like, "Ooh, I don't know who he is, but he's doing good. Let me piss off my boyfriend a little bit." That's all I got for that. I love it.
We start out with Stalker Scott, which is just like, I mean, I know we harp on it a little bit because we just, that's where we are, but
right.
It's like, it's real obvious. It's not like subtle, like the way Stefan was with Elena in Vampire Diaries, which was still stalkery, but you know what I mean? Like, it was a lot more subtly done. Harley and Styles having that conversation, just to nip it in the bud. For people who are saying that Styles didn't have friends without Scott, he's having a full-on conversation while Scott is, completely ignoring them.
And she, approached them, and she was like, hey.
Yeah. And then Lydia's sass, which I wrote down, Traitor Lydia. I'm like, Lydia had so much attitude, and they completely stripped her of that to show trauma.
Yeah.
And, but badly done trauma.
Well,
and it's like, she never actually gets it back. She gets it a little back with Malia, but that's about it.
But even that is supposed to be unintentional. We're not supposed to see that sass.
Okay, Scott being able to track the exact place he was attacked the next day in daylight.
And no one questioned it. And you're just like, really, you guys?
It should have been right at this exact spot. I set a GPS flag with my phone.
And
before I got attacked.
I love that his little ad-lib, because it had to be an ad-lib on his part, is to kneel down and start sweeping at the ground, hoping he can find his tiny plastic inhaler. And it was like, oh, Scott, you were really a dumb puppy. But Scott stands hate that, but that's what I loved about him at the time. I remember it was really endeared to that about him. And, of course, we get the emergence of Mr. Derek Hale. Styles says...
dirty.
Yes, who was super pale. And what were you saying, Ethan?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, they did his makeup dirty.
Yeah.
That was just, so wrong. Hecklin has, he's very tan. Even in his palest, he still has a decent amount of color in his skin.
Exactly.
And that just looked, sickly.
Yeah. He did look a mess. But he still looked good. He had the little, I'm not here for, no facial hair heckling. But he had the jacket, and he's another one that immediately he knew how to play that role. He wasn't a robot, but he was very stoic. And he kind of gave a little bit of face. We saw him give that kind of what? like, what are you doing here? Why are you still here kind of look. And then he tossed Scott the inhaler, and then Styles got a boner. And it was all very wonderful. Of course.
Styles' face, though, it was like,
who
is this hunk?
Who is he? This is the beginning, though, of their timeline trouble. 10 years ago, his entire family got killed in a fire. That would have made Scott and Styles like 6 or 7. 6, really, because they're all supposed to be 16. And if we're going by pilot, then that would be Derek 9. If we're not going by pilot, then it's still going to be like 13, 14. Or because there's no way that Derek Hale's 26, 27, and, you know, whatever is happening.
Because we hear Styles say he's only a few years older.
Exactly.
Few, less than 5.
Right.
Right. Yeah, a few is 100% less than 5. 10 years, he said, like 10 years.
Yeah.
So taking that with a grain of salt, like, we know how Styles can be, like, probably not 10 years.
But even, yeah, because, well, then later, and if we reach this part, we get into the 6 years, someone heard 6, and then there was like an 11, and you know, just all this stuff. So it's just a hot mess. I'm here for it.
So you were saying something about the closed animal clinic?
Yeah. Oh, I just said, why didn't he ever call the doctor? Because
it was before that. He's switching the sign right before, even before Allison even gets to the door, and you're like, I was going to say something.
I don't. Oh, something about the cats. And is it just because cats don't like dogs? Or is that what they were going for?
I think it's either that or because, you know, like, pets sense supernatural forces.
I wonder if he understood that his... Well, so we know now, because they changed the rules, is that when your eyes flash like that, you have a werewolf vision. But Scott didn't seem to notice any kind of different vision. His eyes just flashed at the pups. And so I don't think he knew he did that. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it was just like...
Doodaloo-doo, I'm a werewolf.
Yeah. When he said, you frightened her, or something like that, I'm like, who talks like that?
Yes.
It's like the vocabulary words that you pull out an SAT vocabulary book, you just decide to give it to a sophomore who can, like, we'll see later, it has pretty poor grades to begin with.
Writers are terrible at this.
Well,
they're absolutely terrible.
When they were walking through the woods.
Natural speed.
When they were walking through the woods, I was like, I understand that it's exposition. It was entirely too much talking for them to be like, the incurable asthmatic, or whatever it was he said. It was just like, dude, I have asthma, slow down. That's about as much as
this isn't Gilmore Girls, okay? Like, it doesn't have to be a line full of dialogue.
Oh my god.
And then the girly girl thing, which leads us to, like, how horrible Malia is later on. This idea that, you know, like, getting scared or being, you know, anything like that is, you know, bad and not quite being a girl.
At the time, that was a big thing of girls saying, I'm not going to be a girly girl, I'm going to be strong. What people didn't realize at the time was how misogynistic and stupid that was. Because what you're saying then is like, for pretty girls, you know, that kind of thing. There's a lot of weird, like, kind of misogynist tropes which come directly from Jeff Davis. So then they're like, I like her because she's not like the other girls. And you're like, you know, like, let's back this up. But they hit it heavy in this first part, especially this first season. There's a lot of questionable moments like that. So we'll get to those more and more. Anything else before we go on?
I don't think so, no.
All right, let's do this. We are at 21:38, and we are starting again in 3, 2, 1, and play. Run the other way, Scott. All these bodies of water.
Russell.
Yeah.
That's Russell, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, little man. How about you tell me where you're getting your juice? What? Where are you getting your juice? My mom does all the grocery shopping.
Classic.
No,
That is a classic
you're gonna tell me
line.
exactly what it is and who you're buying it from, because there's no way in hell you're out there kicking ass in the field like that without some sort of chemical boost. Oh, you mean steroids? You want steroids? What's wrong with you, McCall?
You want steroids?
What's wrong with me? You really want to know?
Oh, here we go.
Well, so
Acting.
would I, because I can see, hear, and smell things that I shouldn't be able to see, hear, and smell. I do things that should be impossible. I'm sleepwalking 3 miles into the middle of the woods, and I'm pretty much convinced that I'm totally out of my freaking mind. You think you're funny, don't you, Nicole? I know you're hiding something. I'm gonna find out what it is. I don't care how long it takes.
I just keep going to the jaw and everything.
Colton was so good.
I've been playing the first elimination, making it wait. Just hold on, okay? I overheard my dad on the phone. The fiber analysis came back from the lab in LA. They found animal hairs on the body from the woods. Styles, I gotta go. Wait, who? Scott, you're not to believe what the animal was. It was a wolf.
Look at those eyes. Oh!
Bring it in.
Those doe eyes.
Got a question, McCall?
What?
You raise your hand. You have a question?
Oh, no, I was just, nothing, sorry.
Okay. You know how this goes. If you don't make the cut, you're most likely sitting on the bench for the rest of the season. You make the cut, you play, your parents are proud, your girlfriend loves you, huh? Everything else is, cream cheese. Now get out there and show me what you got.
Have we seen Danny yet?
Not yet.
No. Not till the 3rd episode?
No, I think
Why is it here?
I thought it was pretty soon.
I think we get a mention of him next episode, and we don't see him till 3.
Get up, Scott. Look at
Stalker.
Colton. God dang it.
I love Jack.
Those face angles. These fake lacrosse moves.
This is so fake.
Get over here! What in God's name was that? This is a lacrosse field. What are you trying out for the gymnastics team?
No, Coach.
What the hell was that?
I don't know. I'm just trying to make the shot.
Yeah, well, you made the shot. And guess what? You're starting, buddy. You made first line.
I love that everyone heard that.
Everybody heard that and started cheering immediately.
Look at Styles with his books.
And being a little bookworm.
He's printing using all that good ink for that picture.
Get it.
websites, books, all this. Which Adderall you had today? A lot? Doesn't matter. Okay, just listen. Is this about the body? Did they find out who did it? No, they're still questioning people. Even Derek Hale. Oh, the guy in the woods that we saw the other day. Yeah, but that's not it, okay? What then?
Yes, it is, because that's the first person you thought of.
Not a joke anymore. The wolf, the bite in the woods. I started doing all this reading. Do you even know why a wolf howls? Should I? It's a signal. Okay, well, when a wolf's alone, it howls to signal its location to the rest of the pack. So if you heard a wolf howling, that means others could have been nearby. I mean, maybe even a whole pack of them. A whole pack of wolves? No, werewolves. Are you seriously wasting my time with this? You know I'm picking up Allison in an hour. I saw you on the field today, Scott. Okay, well, what you did wasn't just amazing, all right? It was impossible. Yeah, so I made a good shot. No, you made an incredible shot. I mean, the way you moved, your speed, your reflexes. People can't just suddenly do that overnight. And there's the vision and the senses. And don't even think I don't notice that you don't need your inhaler anymore. Dude, I can't think about this now. We'll talk tomorrow. Tomorrow? What? No, the full moon's tonight. Don't you get it? What are you trying to do? I just made first line. I got a date with a girl who I can't believe wants to go out with me. Everything in my life is somehow perfect. Why are you trying to ruin it? I'm trying to help. You're cursed, Scott.
Aww.
You know, and it's not just that the moon will cause you to physically change. It also just so happens to be when your bloodlust will be at its peak. Bloodlust. Yeah, your urge to kill. I'm already starting to feel an urge to kill, Styles. You gotta feel this. The change can be caused by anger or anything that raises your pulse. All right? I haven't seen anyone raise your pulse like Allison does. You gotta cancel this date. You gotta call her right now.
Here's where we have a conspiracy already.
Okay, we're going to talk about that in just a second.
I gotta go get ready for that party. I'm sorry.
And pause. It's a little bit earlier than 10 minutes, but I forgot that scene happened. And we have pages and pages of meta about Derek pushing Styles against a wall. And how they should hate each other because anger and fighting, and they obviously don't like each other.
And that just happened.
That just happened. And Scott and Styles are perfect, and they're the great couple, and they're friends forever. But Scott not only pushed Styles up against the wall, made a fist at him, and slashed up his chair.
But they explain it away as like him being like not in full control of his wolf, and Styles was overstepping his boundaries by like, you know, pressuring him and pelting him with all this information because, you know, Styles can't read social cues and like all this crap.
They try it. And, oh, poor Styles. But this again is where we kind of get into a situation, because at that point you understand where Scott's coming from, but you also understand that he's being a dick in that scenario. And you have Styles who could be very one-sided and could be very, I have no concept of how severe this is, and so I'm just talking like, oh, you could die, Scott. Like, he sat down, he was like, buddy, you're cursed, and we need to talk about this, you know? And then Scott wasn't listening. They're trying to portray it one way that falls into this kind of stereotypical sitcom-y thing, but the boys are playing it another way, which is more realistic, but it also makes it so it's not so black and white.
I mean, Scott says, why are you trying to ruin it? I mean, these are like core feelings where he literally feels that his friend is not happy for him, that his friend is jealous of him. And it's like, we don't have any indication of that here. And a lot of that is already on Scott. Like, Scott was thinking, probably, I'm going to make the team, and Styles is probably going to be jealous. He was already preparing himself for this kind of, these kind of emotions.
I don't even think he was preparing himself, because I really think that he is just deny. He doesn't care how it happened. All he cares is that it happened. Because he even has that little rant to Colton where he's like, I'm doing things I shouldn't be able to do, and da-da-da-da-da. And he's voicing these frustrations to someone he doesn't have to justify himself to. Because there's no way that speech should have went to Colton. It should have went to Styles. But in front of Styles, he's denying that there's a problem.
Because he doesn't want to, he doesn't want to deal with it.
Actually,
but it's just it's just so irresponsible, and it's so. I mean, the abilities are kind of like, oh, okay, maybe if I was, a teenager and all I cared about was that kind of crap, then maybe I would do that. But the instant healing,
yeah,
that one is a little bit harder to ignore.
Yeah, that one's obby. Like, come on. One of the things that really sort of got me was nothing gets your pulse racing like Allison.
Yeah.
Doesn't Allison become his anchor, and that's how he's able to get his powers under control?
Well, then they said, first of all, they met this chick yesterday.
Right?
Why is it?
Right.
Why do they know so much about Allison? But then also, that's why he has to dump her later, and that's why his mom is like, be your own anchor, because it's finicky. It's fickle. There we go. It's not, it doesn't sustain. So yeah, I think he, Lord. But also, that's to juxtapose against Derek, and Derek's, anchor being pain, and then Scott's anchor being love. Quote unquote.
Yeah, except Derek's becomes his connection with Styles.
Right? Child, I am not oof. Yeah. Basically.
But,
I love the scene where he gets chased into the pool. That was just so funny and so perfect. And they were seriously missing moments like that. Probably 3 Beyond.
Well, they didn't want Scott to look stupid. To look dumb.
He already did.
Well,
right.
That's the problem, yeah. Is he lost that relatability. Because for some reason they see it as an automatic pejorative, and it's not.
No, it's supposed to be endearing. Like, him being so innocent and naive is supposed to be, what endears you to him.
Exactly.
And then they took that away.
Oh, Scotty boy.
But I gotta say, Jackson was giving Scott the, I'm gonna top you so hard, you're not even gonna be able to ride the bench.
Business.
Yes.
And this was season 1, so this is before Posey and Dylan had their second growth spurt. And so Jackson was actually eye to eye with Scott for a lot of this. And so I'm like, I would have got that. Because I was full. Yep. I was Skaxon first season. These first few episodes, I remember.
It didn't become a legitimate thing.
I think
Skaxon, at the beginning, I think that it had the potential to become a really popular ship, and I remember reading a decent amount of fics with it, but it was sort of it was like a hate sex thing.
Yes.
And that was cool. It was really cool to see that dynamic play out.
I think attention just focused or just shifted to Styles at that point. And their storylines just weren't connected in that same way, maybe? I don't know. I don't fully remember, but that's something we'll have to think about going forward, is why did Skaxon never... And maybe it might have just been because Colton left.
You see, but that can't be an excuse, because when we have Skaxon with Styles, we have 1,224 fics. When we have Skaxon, we have 220.
Wow.
I mean, and from the get-go, I mean, they're both pretty on equal footing here.
They are, yeah.
And I think it's just the beginning of Scott fandom kind of letting it down because they have an on-screen romance already on the show.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, because at this point, Jackson and Styles don't really interact. In fact, we don't see them interact until, the bowling? Maybe?
Mm-hmm.
It's a punch at the school, isn't it?
What punch?
Like when Styles punches Jackson at the school.
Oh, but I think that's after bowling, isn't it?
Because bowling is without Styles, isn't it? Or no Styles clothes, right?
I don't know. So their first real interaction is at the cafeteria when they sit down and
when they're for the lunch. Okay, and we're not there yet.
I'm pretty sure that's pretty much. And then we get like, hey, testicle 1 and 2,
and that's when Danny shows up. So that's probably next episode, maybe, or maybe at the end of this one. So we'll see. But yeah, and so I'm like, they have this form of time to really start writing that Jackson thing. And maybe they just thought that they didn't need it. And so they just didn't start writing it.
Yeah.
And it's interesting.
Well, it seems like that trend seems to happen a lot.
Exactly. All right, we are at 29:46. We'll be starting in 3, 2, 1, and play.
Is this a party or a date?
Maybe both.
And her name?
Allison.
Allison.
Nice.
Thank you.
We don't need to have a talk, do we?
Oh, I'm not having a safe sex talk with you.
Oh my God. No, I meant about keeping the tank full. Give me those back.
Are you serious?
You bet your ass I'm serious. I'm not going to end up on some reality television show with a pregnant 16-year-old. Come on.
I love that line.
It's just because Allison wasn't 16. Or the pregnant one. Oh, here's a party. Oh, this was Lydia's party. Is this the one that... Ah!
Woo!
Yes, Derek, yeah.
Just creeping in the corner.
What? Oh, he looked at the moon.
I like how fast the world moved here, and then later it's like, oh, I missed the shot.
Right. Is this the one where Styles is in the background dancing? Or Dylan?
It could be.
In the purple hoodie.
Another freaking awesome song.
Yeah,
there he is.
Yeah, that's definitely.
Yep, there he is. Who
I
is
think it's
that?
Styles and all his friends.
Is that Lydia?
Yeah.
Work, mama.
You don't remember this?
No, I don't remember any of this. I watched this so fast.
I'll be right back.
Oh, shaky
I like
cam.
this scene.
There goes Styles again.
Oh, wait, that wasn't him, because he's not wearing the hoodie there.
No, he wasn't supposed... We'll talk about that in a second.
I like these shots because they do like a really good job, sort of showing you like what he's going through.
He got in his car and left her at the party.
Allison. I'm a friend of Scott's.
He's so
Look at how
creepy.
helpful Derek is being.
My name's Derek.
Yes, I'll go home with you.
He's just trying to help, but he's being so
He's like, I just want to take you home. I don't want to take you to my home.
Right.
Take me home.
Is he in his shower jeans, his shower shorts?
Yeah. No, he's in. No.
His never nudes.
Yeah.
They could have gone away with him being in boxer briefs.
Now you want to talk to your friend, Styles?
I still have no idea what's going on.
Not with me. Let me in, Scott. I can help. No. Listen, you gotta find Allison. She's fine, all right?
Why?
I saw her get a ride from the party. She's totally fine, all right? No, I think I know who it is. Just let me in. We can talk. It's Derek. Derek Hale's the werewolf. He's the one that bit me. He's the one that killed the girl in the woods.
So many assumptions.
Scott, Derek told you of Allison from the party.
So many assumptions.
Just because he looked at you. Oh, God. Look at that.
That superhero landing.
I'll give him that, because I remember getting my life when he did that.
That was a good shot.
Aww.
I love how Tyler Posey never did a werewolf howl, right?
Yeah.
Or was he the one that had always done it? I can't remember. One of the Tylers had always done a howl, and the other one never did one.
I don't know.
I don't care what you say. Tyler Hoechlin did all his own howls. It's just the way it is.
Hi, Mrs. Argent. You have no idea who I am. I'm a friend of your daughter's. Look, this is gonna sound kind of crazy. Really crazy, actually. You know what? Crazy doesn't even describe.
It's a trap, Scott! It's a trap!
Where is she? She's safe. From you. What did you do with her? Quiet. Too late. They're already here. Run.
Dang, Derek. He said, y'all have to go home, but you can't stay here. Argent. Look at
Hello, Papa.
young JR.
He looks so young in this.
With all these reaction shots. Look at Chris.
So much makeup.
And that little look to his side like,
Who were they?
Hunters. Kind of been hunting us for centuries.
Oh, Derek.
You mean you? You did this to me!
You better give us these lines.
Is it really so bad, Scott? That you can see better?
He doesn't deny it.
Hear more clearly, move faster than any human could ever hope?
He's like, I don't have to deny it. You disrespect my kind.
Would kill for. The bite is a gift.
Oh.
I don't want it.
You will. And you're gonna need me if you want to learn how to control it. So you and me, Scott?
We're brothers now. Worst mentor.
And then he just leaves.
And then he just leaves. Hunter's still there.
Steric.
Like,
and he's still walking home.
God.
Yeah, I don't understand this passage of time.
Neither do they.
You know what actually worries me the most? You say Allison, I'm gonna punch you in the head. She probably hates me now. I doubt that. But you might... Tell her the truth and revel in the awesomeness of the fact that you're a freaking werewolf. Okay, bad idea. Hey, we'll get through this. Come on, if I have to, I'll chain you up myself on full moon nights and feed you live mice. I had a boa once, I could do it.
Literally do anything for his friend.
So what happened? You left me stranded at the party.
Yeah, I know. I'm really sorry. I am. But you're gonna have to trust that I had a really good reason.
Did you get sick?
I definitely had an attack of something.
Am I gonna get an explanation?
Can you just find it in your heart to trust me on this one?
No, who are you?
Am I gonna regret this?
Yes.
Probably. Yes, queen.
So is that a yes, my second chance?
Definitely yes.
Why?
It's my dad. I better go.
Dun dun dun.
Wait, we gotta get that shot, that look back. He notices the sun. Interesting.
JR and them teeth. Yay! Teen Wolf. Oh my god, it happened, people. Episode 1. Oh, so, Dylan O'Brien actually asked Jeff Davis if he could, be in the scene for the party if he put on a purple hoodie and just danced. And so that was him dancing. Later on, I think at the next party one, Jeff actually puts on a hoodie because he has to stand in for Styles and something because Dylan wasn't available. But I think that's much, much later. But yeah, so Styles was at the party, but also was Dylan O'Brien.
In a purple hoodie.
In a purple
We have
hoodie.
specific pictures of him in that hoodie, right?
Yeah,
We definitely do, yeah.
And was...
So going back to where we first...
Oh, no, go ahead.
Going back to, like, the beginning of, like, where we cut off, the real parent-child interaction between Scott and Melissa.
Yeah.
Where it was, like, natural. It wasn't like, oh, being used as filler. It was just, that's what happens in the scene between getting ready to go out and actually going out.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And
perfectly executed.
We lose this as time goes on. And I get that their relationship is going to be a little bit different as the supernatural starts, coming into their lives. But we don't lose it because, like, oh, they're more busy or, oh, because they're more distant with each other. Mm-hmm. We lose it just because they want to focus on other things.
Right. I feel you.
Ooh, yeah.
Why did I write this? Who doesn't ring the doorbell? Oh, okay, maybe this is just me as Latino, but what guy goes to a girl's house for their first date and does not ring the doorbell to come pick her up?
Did she just get in his car?
Did he honk or did she just open the door by the time he got there?
I think she opened the door.
I don't remember.
I don't know if he honked. I think he parked. He parked and then she walked out the door. Because I remember the sound of the e-brake going up, and I was just like, you're going to be leaving in 3 seconds, but...
What I will say is that for as much people... So, one thing that Edie said during the Steric thing, she had this whole thing about the whole, your kink is not my kink, and that's okay. And then talking about Steric, and she said, well, when I look at Tyler Hoechlin, I see a grown man. And when I look at Styles, I see this little, baby boy. But we have yet another situation where Derek literally says to Allison, I'm a friend of Scott's. He doesn't say I'm a friend of your father's. Whatever. I'm an adult. And, I see that you're in trouble. I'm one of these kids' dads. He says, I'm a friend of Scott's, which would mean some sort of contemporary. And enough to where Allison was like, yeah, okay. And then went with him. But I'm like, you're not.
I mean, that's when he blended into the party, too.
Exactly. Like, he was sticking out because we were looking at him, but he looked just like another kid at this party. Ugh.
Which I want to know what that car conversation was like.
I need to know. And
I need to know what did they talk
because
about.
How did he keep her blazer?
And how did he keep her blazer? Yeah.
Turn up the heat.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah,
I know.
Takes it off and
then she
and
real
then
forgetful.
Yeah.
But
or maybe this goes back to that storyline that you were thinking about, that they might have been going for a Derek, Allison, Scott storyline, like triangle, and so maybe we were going to find out that they had made out. But that actually takes me back, because we hear all the time, oh, Derek was tricking Scott, and he made him scared that he was going to hurt Allison, and blah, 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 blah. But, I mean, you look at it, and it's like he's literally luring Scott because he knows that the hunters are patrolling.
Well,
he already knows that
he's trying to protect him.
And he knows that he's going to go wild. And so he's trying to draw him somewhere where he can corral him away from hunters.
Well, that
Did he do a good job of explaining that afterwards? Hell no. But I blame that on Jeff.
There's just something... Derek from the beginning is like, I was protecting her from you. And I'm sure he probably, I don't know how, he probably knew the connection because he had to drop off Allison at her house, unless he didn't recognize
Allison would have been around when he was dating Kate, right?
Well,
so
but if we're saying 10 years ago, then she was 7, and maybe he didn't recognize her because he didn't give her any kind of, like, I recognize you. And she didn't.
But I don't think Chris lived in Beacon Hills at the time.
Who?
I'm not quite sure
no.
Chris lived in Beacon Hills at the time of the Hellfire.
They did live in Beacon Hills, but they had moved away and then came back. Chris had to have, because who would...
Chris had to have...
Chris would have been an actual adult, so, like, maybe he wasn't, but Gerard and Kate still did.
Maybe. You're right. Maybe you're right.
That would be weird to think that happened without them knowing at all. That's interesting.
Because then Allison would have said, where she says that, she's never lived any place more than a year. Well, I mean, if she had lived in Beacon Hills till she was 8, even if it was outside of Beacon Hills and went to a different school district or whatever, she would have.
And they would know Allison too.
Yeah, one would assume.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Interesting.
Very interesting.
Where Scott at the end, where he says, what worries me the most? I know it's played for laughs and all that stuff like that, but it just emphasizes where his priorities are.
Mm-hmm. The
get-go.
Yeah, he's just like, don't you dare say Allison. And he was like, oh, she's going to hate me forever. And it's like, oh, okay. We get it.
And then that leads to him waiting all day at school to apologize to Allison. He doesn't wait for her in the morning.
You guys have a class together.
Even if it's like A and B schedules, let's rationalize the hell out of this.
And
he still waits all day.
And she just forgives him. You're going to have to trust me. No, I don't know you. I think, if I saw a guy like that, I'd be like, well, you can trust that we're just going to be friends. I don't know. That seems weird to me. Because he straight up ditched her. Like, there was no... Like, you were my ride to this party. And I don't know anything about the supernatural. You got in your car and left.
Yeah.
I mean, not even shooting a text like, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry, I got violently ill."
Yeah.
And I made sure my friend Derek. I mean, he knew he took her home, so he could have just pretended it was the plan all along.
Exactly.
God.
But no, that would require thought.
But I also love that. He doesn't know that the alpha is Peter yet, Derek, right?
No.
He just knows.
But he knows that there's an alpha that bit Scott. I don't know why he doesn't mention that.
Well, I get.
They probably didn't know. Also, I have to be right back.
Okay.
Really fast.
I get that I get Derek's reaction. Because from him, he's like, I was born a wolf. You're talking about my people, and we have bigger things to take care of. I need you to hurry up and get on board. And Scott's like, I'm not going to get on board. I'm going to keep whining. So it's like, it's not the best approach from Derek. He should have, been like, hey, my name is Derek Hale. I'm also a wolf. Let's talk. And he's like, Scott, me and you, we're brothers now. And it's like, ooh, creepster.
You see, but somewhere in there, Derek would have been like, well, we need to find the real alpha that bit you. Because he killed my sister too, or they killed my sister too. So you and me, we're brothers now. You're going to need me to control your wolf, and I'm going to need you to find him.
He still doesn't trust Scott that much, and I almost wonder if he doesn't trust Scott to not, secretly be the alpha himself. He's like, I don't know you. I need to see what kind of person you are first. But you're obviously inexperienced.
Well, I mean, he saw the eyes, so he had to know.
Oh, yeah. There's a little beta. Little beta Scooty. Oh my god.
But I mean, it was it just reminds me of how campy and fun the show used to be.
Yeah. But I remember, because we watched, probably me and Momo watched these. No, in fact, I think I might have watched this by myself. So I probably watched in the span of a day, 7 or 8 episodes. So when I tell y'all I don't remember any of these little nuances, it is
I did the same thing. I was working at a hotel, so I literally binged them and went to the hotel, plugged in my iPad, and watched the rest of them while nobody was around, and boom, it was done.
That is so funny.
Jackson is just amazing. I mean, that's I don't think Colton is the best actor in the world, but in this, he just captures it the way he needs to.
Well, again, this is where casting just got it right. They got it right for what they were supposed to be doing. Colton may not be the best actor, but Colton knows how to do one thing very well, and this is the one thing that he can do very well. He will give you stoic angles and delivery, and he will be that preppy jock that you need him to be.
And he did this in The Gates, and he did this in Arrow too. I mean, Arrow kind of demands a little bit more range.
Well, and that's what I was going to say. Arrow demands a little bit more from him. But The Gates, definitely. And then even the Showtime show that he was on is still very much that cocky kind of attitude. He has a type. And it works for him.
Lydia, Holland was so great at being bitchy Queen Bee. And they could have given her growth without having to strip her of that.
Exactly. I liked what they did with Lydia up until season 4, where they forgot her. When suddenly it became the Malia show. And I felt because even in 3A, we still have catty Lydia, but you can tell that progression is there. But by season 4, they just didn't know what to do with her. And that is unfortunate.
And the thing is, in 4, they could have made her, because they did this thing where she's a mental patient, and she's really fragile kind of thing.
Right.
But it's she could have been really fragile and being stop treating me with kid gloves, really angry.
Exactly.
Kind of sassy all the time.
Yeah, exactly. And so my only gripe is, my whole thing with Tyler Hoechlin's delivery, God bless. But again, the man gives face, and he gives face, and he gives great physicality. He knows how to move. He understands the camera. I did laugh at some of just the weird things, like where JR, when he turned and then he put his gun up by his head and was like, oh. And I was like, you better give us model JR.
So bad.
And that,
yeah, but with Derek's delivery, those lines were so cheesy. The ones that have been hunting us for centuries. Like, really?
And that's why, he's just like, the ones that have been hunting us for centuries. I'm like, that tells me nothing, Derek. I don't know what you're talking about.
But if he had said it with any more oomph, it would have sounded so much more ridiculous, I think.
But I think you either go hard or you go home. And I think that this is what he's like, look, I'll see you tomorrow.
They learned later. I will say that after this pilot episode, they learned, do not give him those, really oomphy lines.
Exactly. They were like, we're good. I love it. Oh my God. All right. So parting thoughts, Ethan.
Oh God. I remember why I fell in love with the show, and that it was incredibly charming. From the get-go. Every character felt unique. They had their own personalities, that you could tell that there was a lot of thought put into, not necessarily the timing of the backstory, but the backstory itself. Even though, can you still hear me?
Uh-huh.
Okay. Even though, we haven't been with these characters for very long, you can tell that Scott and Stiles have been friends forever. I don't know, it's just everything, they did such a good job of introducing everybody without, exposition. Yeah, they did a little bit with Scott, at the beginning, but, overall, it was just, the characters were themselves from the get-go.
Mm-hmm.
And it seemed like there was so much more effort put into this than anything else that they've ever made.
Well, the funny thing is, and I think once we get into the second and third episode, I want to see when the change happened, because they insist that nobody knew what Stalker was. And these first few episodes are painting that story, because right now we have their initial meeting, but I feel like even at that point it was circumstance. They were like, oh, okay, whatever. That was a funny reaction from Stiles to Derek. But in this first episode, really, we're looking at Scott still as the leader. And if we're talking about shipping, we're looking at Skaxon, we're looking at Skerrick, really, and then we're looking at Skallison. It's all these kind of Scott ships.
And Skidia.
A little, yeah.
Because the more you see her, literally, staring at Scott dancing with Allison.
Yes, okay.
Out with Jackson.
That was so ridiculous. Oh, Lydia, you minx.
She wants a piece of that werewolf booty.
That werewolf D. I can't wait. All right. Well, thank you guys for coming out and hanging with us, and we will do this again next week. Say goodnight, Ethan.
Good night, everybody.
Yay. Say goodnight, Philip.
Good night, everybody.
Yay. All right. Good night, everybody.